Hey everyone, Brian here from Vintage Classic Specialist. Happy Friday, everyone. Time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. Alright guys, so should be at least the last time you see this baby here. This, not one family, but the family's had it since like the 70s. The granddad who has passed away, left it to one of his grandsons, and he's got it now, and he's got his own family and so on, and tons of memories around this car. So yeah, very excited to get it back to them. Should be tomorrow. That's what we're aiming for, tomorrow morning. So I'll come in a little bit before them in the morning and wipe it down real quick. It is dirty from sitting outside during the day sometimes, and got to put windshield wiper arms and blades on it. Literally like a 2-minute job if I'm taking my time. Yeah, that's about it. So I did actually work on it a little bit today. I did want to take it on some more test drives just to make sure everything was good. And guys, this thing, I don't know, this is the one I think I called it before, the mystery motor. I don't know what is in this little motor. Obviously, it's got dual ICTs or MP knockoffs of ICTs on it, and it's got this little merged Baja exhaust with like a glass pack type muffler. And the car should be a little bit lighter by virtue of being a Baja and having some sheet metal removed, but not. I don't think the weight accounts at all. Plus, it's pulling these huge back wheels and tires. This thing is definitely not stock internally. I don't know, maybe it's like a 1776 or something. I don't know, but holy cow, guys, this thing likes to go. I mean, it's very responsive, and it pulls. This thing is so much fun to drive. And so anyway, yeah, today took it for a drive on a couple occasions and then came back, and the idle speed was a little high once it was fully warmed up. So turned that down, resynced the carbs left to right, and checked the idle mixtures. They were pretty right on. I think one side I richened it up a hair, maybe like a quarter turn from where it was. The other side was pretty dead on. Yeah, so just some like final little tuning stuff like that to make sure that it's running its best. And here's something else I did is I did finally put a breather of sorts on it. So I don't know, somebody I think modified this filler because the outlet on it is huge. It's like a little bit bigger than 5/8 of an inch, and I don't think VW ever had a filler that big on these. They were always more like half an inch, about 13 millimeters, 12, 13 millimeters, something like that. So I had to run to O'Reilly's, and what I did was I bought a 5/8 to half-inch adapter, and then I bought a section of 5/8 hose, and then bought this little filter. And because before, I don't know, they had some kind of like hose on here with like an elbow on each side, and I think it was just puking out whatever oil vapors came out just everywhere. There was no filter or anything on it. There didn't seem to be anything to hook it up. I think maybe at some point somebody had it attached to like a carburetor for that type of recirculation. I'm not sure. But anyway, so this is what I came up with just to, at least have some protection for the motor for stuff getting in there, and then not, potentially be spraying oil vapor all over the place. Although this motor doesn't really seem to have much blow by. But anyway, it's a better idea to just not have that open, or, at least if you do have it like dumping toward the ground, but the provisions for that aren't there. So anyway, that's what I put on there. And it's a bit bright, but I don't know, hopefully it'll dull a little bit, but it kind of looks like a mini version of the air cleaners on the carburetors. I only wish that the color of it was more natural like that versus this bright blue, but anyhow, not a big deal. And now it's I feel better about it now versus just being open. So yeah, that was it, guys. So yeah, probably like I said, clean it up a little bit tomorrow, maybe take it for one more quick test drive before they come and get it, and they can start creating new memories with it. I don't think he's been able to drive it much at all since he's had it. Not too sure. I think maybe he did a little bit, but they were having kind of issues with it running and stuff like that. So anyway, there you go. So long to this one, and probably be in someday for some routine maintenance or little odds and ends. But yeah, cool car. Family seems super nice. Actually looking forward to meeting at least the owner of the car tomorrow. I don't know if he's bringing his family, but yeah, super cool, guys. Okay, so that was my morning, and then I turned my attention back to Big Blue, the 69 bay window bus. And there's a lot to do when you're running air conditioning and fuel injection, because there's just so many more cables and hoses and brackets and stuff like that. So pretty much just, kept chipping away at all that stuff. So I did pick up the throttle body. Get a light here. So the throttle body, AJ had it to do some etching on it. He likes to put his logo on it there. There you go, next to the Phytech logo. And then on the top under the air cleaner, he puts like a serial number and stuff like that. So if tech support's ever needed, he can pull up the actual program that was at least initially loaded on here and stuff like that. But yeah, so got the throttle body back, and then went through the slightly painful process of routing the wires the way I had them routed, which is everything. I think I was talking about this yesterday. Everything kind of routed underneath the alternator, and then at least the ones that go down here, which is oil temp, crank position, and wideband O2 sensors. So those three go down here and exit through the stock oil breather location, and then everything else heads off this way to its respective places. So one of these actually goes toward the front of the car for the little handheld unit, and then the other one goes to a relay box that has a bunch of 2 relays in it and some other stuff going on. Anyway, so yeah, got all that stuff routed. Kind of a pain because, again, to fit everything through here, the cables themselves aren't that big, but they have relatively huge, let's see if I can find one here, relatively huge connectors on them, which there's no room to push that through there at all. And then there's some other big connectors relatively for that, and then the one that you can barely see back there for crank position sensor. So yeah, no way to just feed those back through there, so I have to completely take the belt off, take the alternator strap off, undo the 2 bolts at either side of the fan shroud, and then basically lift that assembly up and kind of prop it up somehow, route all that stuff, get it, where I want it, and then lower that back down, and then, reassemble everything. So kind of a pain, but we can't have wires just running every which way. So you guys know how we roll. We like things to be super neat and well thought out looking, and really happy with how this came out, running it through that stock location, or the stock location for the breather. Anyway, so yeah, took care of that, and then I went ahead and also routed the fuel lines. So I'll show you the fuel lines on this side first, and then we'll pause for a second. I'll get under the car and show you the rest of the fuel line routing by the pump and the tank and stuff like that. But anyway, so yeah, I decided to run it through the firewall here, so that if the engine is coming in or out, you basically just disconnect these 2 fuel lines. Again, one is feed, one's return. They both go, well, here, let's take a look. So this is the feed closest to us. Whatever fuel doesn't get used by the injectors along this fuel rail, which is kind of built into this part here, comes out through this fitting back here, and then that's one of these 2 hoses here. So yeah, those come up from underneath the car there, route back there, and then connect. So anyway, if the engine needs to come out, just undo these 2 little AN fittings there and swing those fuel lines off to the side, and that's it. So let me pause for a second, and I will climb under here and show you guys the under tank routing. Alrighty, here we are, guys. So yeah, here is everything going on under here. So I had the fuel pump, I mounted it yesterday once I figured that out. So today installed the fuel filter. So basically we've got this T on the bottom of the gas tank here. Fuel comes out through the filter. That's the inlet side of the pump, goes through the pump, And then from there, this hose runs up to the throttle body. And then on the return side, the return one basically just dumps back into this T. And so pretty much you've got like a loop here. Whatever fuel comes out, whatever is not used by the motor comes back in here into this T, and then potentially like goes right back in there, and some fuel's added from the tank. So yeah, that's kind of how that all goes together with fuel injection cars. There's always a return system here that the unused fuel comes back to the tank, or in this case it comes back to like a T fitting and probably just circulates again. Anyway, so yeah, I got that all mounted and got the hoses all figured out and stuff like that. So it just takes a lot of planning and stuff to make everything neat and make sure things aren't going to interfere with stuff. And you know, that's why I had to kind of have the motor in and out a bunch of times, checking to see what's going to clear and so on. But yeah, pretty happy with how that came out. All right, hold on a sec. All right, so the only other thing I really did was to go ahead and install this throttle cable bracket, which you see right here. So ultimately, when this thing is installed for real, throttle cable comes and it'll be mounted on here. Obviously one of these nuts will be on this side, and then that gives you some adjustment here as far as the length and stuff is concerned. And then there's a nice little Heim joint here with an end, so you know, once everything's figured out lengthwise, cut this off, shove this in here, tighten that down, that holds that on there, and then there you go, that's your throttle. So added the extra return spring that comes in the kit right there. Had to shorten it a little bit. It was a bit on the long side, but the throttle body itself has a return spring built into it, so this one's kind of redundant. But you know, again, you want to make sure that it nicely snaps back to the idle position when you let off the throttle. So that's plenty firm there. What else, guys? Yeah, so I think that is pretty much what I did today. Another part came in, which I think I mentioned yesterday, which is this little compact C-Trab oil cooler. They call it a fan pack, and they are pretty small, but these are really high efficiency. So, you know, this one may be equivalent to like that giant one that I put in the oval window bug, if you saw that. Just really, really high efficiency. That's why you can get by with kind of a small compact one like this. Plus, this motor does have one of the new IMPI super coolers on it in the doghouse position. So this motor's already got pretty good cooling just from the doghouse system on there. Of course, buses are heavy and so on, and these guys live in an area that gets kind of hot, like Stockton area or something like that. So definitely we want some added capacity here for cooling. But yeah, this little one. The other thing is, on these buses, bay window buses, there is just not a hell of a lot of room up underneath these things, and I've already got like air conditioning going on and all this other stuff. And these, of course, being IRS, they've got trailing arms that you have to deal with. So not a heck of a lot of room underneath there. So I kind of erred on the side of going with a higher performance and more compact cooler, because this thing is definitely going to be a lot easier to install up underneath there. I'm hoping to get it up underneath on the driver's side, so that the oil cooler and everything can just, all the plumbing can just kind of stay on this side. If I can't, I might have to put the cooler up underneath the passenger side and then cross the hoses over. I really don't want to do that. So again, that's one of the reasons I erred on the side of getting a fairly small cooler, because I think I can fit this one up underneath about, let's see, guys, about up underneath there somewhere. So we'll see. Anyway, so yeah, another piece of the puzzle came. I've got to get some fittings and stuff for it and some hose, but that's probably going to be one of the next things to go on Big Blue. And then the other thing left is for the fuel injection system. There's this box here that has relays in it for the unit itself. It's got the relay in it, I think, for the fuel pump. Yeah, fuel pump relays in here, and the relay for the ECU itself, which is inside the throttle body. And then I've got to install another separate relay for the fan, which will be on that, which is on that oil cooler, and that relay will be triggered by the computer via this harness here. So pretty much you can set, instead of, you know, usually when people plumb in these oil coolers, they put an inline thermostat, and they seem like they're always 180 degrees, which to me is actually a little bit on the cool side. But with the EFI system and EFI system controlling this, you can pretty much set this to whatever you want as far as when this is triggered. Maybe like 200 is a better temperature, something like that. So yeah, we'll see. But anyway, yeah, still got some wiring to do, still got some plumbing to do. But the good news is that Big Blue is moving right along here. I just keep chipping away at this puppy. So guys, that's it for today. I do believe I am coming in tomorrow for a little while, probably work on my own stuff, maybe my windows on my split window, I'm not sure, but for sure I got to come in and do the couple things I mentioned on this one so the family can come and take delivery of it. So anyway, for today, that's all guys. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.